Welcome to Chatbox with Sam. Tonight's guest is Danny Arroyo. So,
Hey, you got my last name right. A lot of people sometimes don't get it right, but good on you.
thank you very much, Danny.
Next time we got to have you say it with the rolling of the R's, like Arroyo, if you wanted to be like really Latina. But Arroyo is perfectly fine.
I would love to have that, but I'd need a voiceover. Well, Danny, welcome to Chatbox with Sam. I'm really honoured that you came on my show tonight, and I'd like to ask you a few questions,
Yeah,
and then we're
thank you.
going.
I appreciate you letting me be here to speak and catch up and to meet you really for the first time. We've been doing the phone tag thing for about three
Yes,
weeks, 4 weeks now.
it's been
So
about a month. Yes. So I'm really glad that you're here, and it's lovely to meet you finally.
my pleasure.
So, Danny, if you were to encourage the younger generation, what would be the main focus?
Not the first time I've been asked this question, and I think it's a tremendously great question. Um, I'm a big believer in um, instilling confidence and giving the right words to the younger generation so that way they see a more positive outlook in their future. So, what I would tell them is to absolutely have a 100% faith in their dreams, whatever it may be. Um, Nothing is too big. The universe is abundant, and whatever it is that you wish to see yourself do with the right mindset of knowing you can do it, the right circumstances will come to make those things happen. Well, how do I do it? Let's say, for example, how do I become, let's say, a filmmaker or an actor, since that's the profession that I do? Someone asked that. Well, it begins with understanding your craft. Here's what I would tell them: watch the movies, watch TV shows, understand how people used to do it uh, years prior to today, like where it began, how it started. If you have a camera, which everybody has one now on their phone, start by practicing with filming and seeing what that's like to film a scene and then, oh, that wasn't quite right. Do it a second time. Learn about editing, learn about directing, learn about the people in the past that came before you that are successful today. So my words to them are always, your dreams are never, ever, ever too big, no matter what it is. And you can achieve it. Doesn't matter where you live, where you're from, your background, religious preference, whatever, you can achieve it. You just got to put some work in,
Yes.
you're studying, and you will meet the right people who have the same mentality, the same dream, the same passions. And hopefully from there, you as a group and as friends can grow as a community and watch your dreams really come to fruition. I'm a big fan of that. You can achieve your dreams. Embrace who you are and what you like. That's what makes you unique.
Can you point them in the right direction of where, after they've done filming and editing, where they could actually, who they could contact?
I
In,
mean, thank goodness for the
in a,
internet. Right? Seriously, it is a great question. What's next? I have all this great footage that I've put on my phone. I have hours of great footage, and I've learned how to edit, and I wrote some stuff. What do I do with it?
mm,
There are a million and one, for example, film festivals out there where you could type in film festival for films that are 2 minutes in length, or 5 minutes, or 20 minutes, or 40 minutes, whatever it is, and you can submit it to that. And all of a sudden, now you have your peers watching your work.
mm-hmm.
And that could lead you to meeting other people who have similar passions or other people who may go, I loved what you did. Why don't you come on
Yeah.
to my project and let's work together? So submit it to festivals. Which festivals? Just go to Google and just type in film festivals, um, beginners, film festivals, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. They're all out there. Pay your $20, submit it, and the next you know, if you get approved, which hopefully you will,
Mm-hmm.
most times film festivals will accept everything, especially if they're newer ones.
Yes.
And then there's your film being seen by everybody. You're a filmmaker. Keep going, and those little 2 minute ones will become five, become 10, and before you know it, you're working on features. But you got to start somewhere.
That's awesome. That's a fantastic answer, Danny. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just want people to understand it's all the tools are out there, they're available. Or you just want to act, get yourself some headshots. Well, what do I go and do that? Just type in Google headshots near me.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Kentucky. I can't. There's people there with cameras. Find a way. Or when the time comes that you've graduated from school and whatever, you want to take a trip to New York or Florida or Chicago or California, start doing theater. I mean, go to the places where these professions really prosper
Right.
and go there. But if you want to act, I definitely recommend, because I come from a theater background, do theater. Get some headshots. Look, see how other people did it. There's so many actors out there that speak, like myself in today's interview, talking about how we started, how we
Mm-hmm.
began. Learn from that. Learn
Right.
from people who came before you, and you'll find yourself, hopefully, not making the mistakes they made, and
Right.
being a better version and doing better, and maybe hopefully getting to those goals quicker than those of us who misstep.
Right. So, what inspired you into this career?
So as you can tell, I'm just a huge movie geek, that I know like all this movie trivia, and I'm just into the history of why movies are being made, and how they were made and how it came about and who was in it and who wrote, who directed it. So I was kind of like that as a young, as a young boy, definitely, even a young teen. But what got me started, going back to your question, was that got me started. I remember just watching a lot of TV, a lot of movies, and I remember watching as a young boy, Superman the movie with
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Reeve. I was a young boy, and it was playing on TV, and I saw some interviews that they had shown of Christopher Reeve talking about how he got Superman, and he auditioned, and he had went to Juilliard to study acting. And I'm going, wait, there's schools for what he's doing?
Right.
The naive boy in me probably even assumed, not probably, did assume, like the people lived inside your TV set and they came out and they performed. I didn't know there was like a thing that people did. And that opened my eyes to
Mm.
like, oh, this is something you can do. And it was still maybe even years later, um, when I finally was like, after watching so many movies, going, this is something that I'm interested in. And just, this before internet, but I started like doing a little research and just kind of finding out what's going on, watching a lot of interviews when they were available. And that's what got me kind of started and down the path of, I'd like to one day wear a cape, or wear
Oh.
or wear the spider symbol one day, and
Oh,
play a
yes.
superhero. That's Miles Morales, Spider-Man. We'll do that one day, and
Yes.
that's what got me going. Getting me to wanting to act was wanting to be a superhero in the movies.
Is there any characters that you've played in a film that you can identify with your own persona, your own personality? And which one was that?
Let's see. I don't think I've been asked that question before. What characters in what movies or TV show that fit me, that I feel like, oh,
You,
there's some. You know what? Tell you something that all the characters that you play, you always got to find something in them
mm-hmm.
that you can relate with,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're not a drug dealer or a person who does drugs, even a person who smokes or whatever it may be. Because I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, anything like that. But you
Mm-hmm.
have to find something in that person that you can relate with. So there's always something, even if
Mm-hmm.
that person is a gangster, and he kills people, or whatever, or he's just a horrible person and just mistreats others, like in certain projects. But you got there's things in them. I have like many projects coming out, and in all of them, I try
Mm-hmm.
to find the human side. Like, why do they do what they do? There's a reason why. Because even people who are bad guys, who play quote unquote bad guys, they don't think they're bad guys. They're doing that for a reason, and they think there's a higher purpose for why they do what they do. They don't consider themselves bad guys. We may see them as that, but that's not how they see it. So if you're playing one, why would he do that to that person? Because that
Right.
person deserves it, because that person did something wrong. So there's a righteousness there. So yeah, I've felt righteous before in my life. So I can take that and do that. Um, uh, oh, this girl left and broke my heart in this project.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can recall, I can remember many times having my heart broken when a relationship with a girl didn't work out. So
Right.
yeah, I can relate that. So a lot of things you can find relatable, and the things that just don't, that's acting. That's where you have to
Right.
kind of go, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never been abducted by an alien before, but
Good job.
this might be how it would feel going, where the hell am I? What is going on? And wait a second, is that the Earth and is that the moon and I'm in space? I've never done a film like that yet, but
Yeah.
we had talked about 2001. That was on my mind about talking about space. So sometimes you got to fake it. You know what I mean? And that's when the acting and the classes will come in.
Fake it to make it.
Exactly. Pretend. I've had people at auditions say, "Can you ride a horse? Can you do certain things?" Or, "Hey, can you trapeze?" Whatever. You go, yes, and then you find a way to be able to do it.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do anything.
Whatever you need, I got it.
I'll try anything once.
Yeah. You never say try. You say yes, I can do it, and you do it.
That's awesome. That's great advice too. Well, out of all the charities, Danny, that are out there, which one would you personally advocate for and why?
Well, I have and still am an advocate for the Christopher Reeve Foundation. Christopher Reeve, again, being the person who played Superman in Superman the movie, who had suffered a horrifying accident in the 90s when he got thrown off a horse and broke his neck, and he was paralyzed from the neck down.
Mm-hmm.
So he really he became just the walking persona, the advocate for people who were paralyzed, and he brought a lot of attention, brought a lot of awareness, was able to raise a lot of money to try to find a cure for this. So they had reached out to me because they knew I was such a fan of the movie and him.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasure to be a part of many of their charitable events to help raise awareness. And I'm glad that we're even talking about it now because with COVID and everything, I really lost touch with them. So I need to get back in touch and talk with them about being more active with them. But that's something that's really very personable to me. And anything that also deals with helping children.
Yeah.
Any kind of abuse that a child has sustained, verbally, physically, that just
protection.
That just makes me feel horrible. And
I know.
And I just think a kind word, a kind gesture, a kind anything, one little kind word, a kind gesture, and all of a sudden that person's life could change immeasurably. So a lot of these people who have been abused or whatever, just looking for any kind of sympathy, good energy, kindness. So I'm also an advocate for those type of charities.
Yeah, me too. Because words do hurt, and they do make a difference. And you can make a huge difference just by being kind in someone's day. You could your words could be the difference of someone stepping off a bridge or walking away from it.
Yeah, and
you gotta be careful.
One encouraging word, one belief.
Yeah.
What is your dream? It's this. This is how you could probably achieve it. Just follow these steps or do this, or I know you can do it. And all of a sudden, things just change for people. Yeah. I just that's how that's.
And putting someone down to make yourself feel higher up, that is diabolical.
That's. You're not a real person if that's how you need to raise yourself, by bringing others down like that. I don't want to know that kind of a person.
Yeah,
that's
me too.
That's not the kind of people I want in my circle, nor will have in my circle.
Yeah.
Uplifting and encouraging of others. As you are achieving your goals and passions, you can bring others along too as well.
Absolutely. Oh, you're an angel. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Your words are very kind and humbling. I'm just trying to be the best person that I can be as I'm enjoying my journey here on being here and following my passions.
Oh, me too. I try my best too. We grow each day and we learn.
You're doing more than your best. You're doing great.
Thank you so much. How do you feel about what has transpired since COVID-19? And do you ever see us returning to a normality as it was? Or do you think it's going to be a new norm?
I think I'll make this as quick and clean without getting super political as possible. I think it's going to be a new normal, much like how when 9/11 occurred and then going to the airline now became, you have to now take your shoes off, take your belts off, and do this whole thing here. And now it's been over 20 years, and now, it's been the new normal. Now it's the norm. And I think
Yeah.
that's what's happened with COVID as well too, with vaccines and this and traveling. So
Yeah.
um, I'll say this though: when we got into quarantine, um, and we weren't allowed to do anything, we had to be home. We couldn't leave. What an interesting time. I think it was only just a year ago. It's
Mm-hmm.
wild. Uh, but I know for me, I think for everybody, that's the first time ever where when somebody said, "Don't you wish you had time to do what you've always wanted to do? If I had time to learn how to do this, I would learn the guitar, or I would do this, and I would learn another language, or I would write that book, or I would." Well, guess what? You did. You
Right.
had months and months and months of sitting at home obligatorily. You couldn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I made it a point to come out of quarantine better than when I went in. That's
Right.
what I did. So I started learning more about the stock market, for example. Just something I've always wanted to do and said never had time. I had time. I started writing and rewriting a lot of my scripts and just making them as good as I always wanted to, but maybe now at time. I did that. Caught up on a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I work out all the time already, but I somehow found, because I had the time to work out even more. So I was working out even like
Oh
double and
wow.
triple, which was great. Um, People were sending me scripts then, and I was helping them rewrite stuff. I was coaching more actors online because I coach actors
Mm-hmm.
online. I just came out of quarantine better than when I went in, and I'm grateful for that. And yes, we are going to have this new normal of you know vaccine, maybe non-vaccine, whatever, traveling,
Right.
masks. Maybe there'll be an outbreak again. I hope not. Maybe, I'm
I,
not. I'm not a predictor of the future. I just know from 2001, 9/11,
mm-hmm.
that we had this new normal, and we got used to it, and life went on. And I
Right.
think what happened with this here, but hopefully for the better and for the betterment of all. Whatever the new normals are, it's a benefit for everybody, and everybody can find a
Oh,
nice cohesion, and we all can be friends as we do it.
and what a great example. No one's actually ever used that example with with the answers. And even though it's a different scenario, but it's still how you get through things and and through change.
Mm.
Changes happen and you grow with them. Yeah, that's a great, fantastic answer. Thank you so much.
Well, we do. We just figure it out as we go along. Again, I just hope that it's done with friendship,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
less animosity and less finger pointing, and just an understanding that we are here trying to do the best that we can. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
In such a pandemic, it's bizarre to me how people divide instead of unify because we're much stronger when we're in unity than when we're attacking or because people through fear that's when the emotion fear is a very strong emotion. So people um, do things differently, you know, in their own way. And
Mm-hmm.
most of it was fear based. So you can't judge another person for thinking differently to the other person, you know. Just know, sorry, just know that we're all in the same boat, even if we're looking at the boat at different angles. We're still in the same one, you
Well
know.
said. Same boat. We're just standing at different parts, looking at different parts of the ocean.
Right,
But
that's it. What is the most exotic place that you've travelled to for film? And is there any place that you'd like to go
mm,
to film?
exotic. There's a ton of exotic places I'd like to go to film. Absolutely. Um, I well, clearly, anywhere you go in the United States isn't considered exotic. I've been, 3 times for 3 films. I just recently was in Utah, Kanab, Utah, for another film, which was great. By the way, the hiking is fantastic. I've been to Atlanta twice for a film. I've filmed in New York. I was just in Mexico for a month in Baja, Mexico, in Tijuana, filming there in the woods for 3 weeks. So I've got to travel. I mean, would I like
Yes.
to travel over? Man, fly me to Rome, man. Let's film in Italy. I mean, let
Oh,
in
nice.
Spain. Oh, you know what? I was actually flown to Spain to film 5 commercials. I was in Madrid. This is maybe going back like now 10 years. My God, where does time
Oh
go?
wow.
It was great fun. So I got to be flown there. Uh, but I love traveling. I mean, fly me to India, man. Let's do a film in India.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
do a film in Budapest. Let's do a film in China, in Tokyo. I've been to Singapore. Let me see. Where have I been? I've been to Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Guam, Greece. Greece was amazing.
Beautiful. I went to a Greek island called Santi, Alakes.
Athens. Let's film in Thessaloniki. Let's film in Mykonos. I love.
Mykonos, I've been there.
I, let's do it. I love Paris. So yes, in an instant, if there's a chance to film anywhere in the world, I would be more than happy to film there. I love that. But I've had the pleasure of traveling many places in the United States to film. I've actually never filmed in Canada. Now that I think about it,
Really?
that's changed soon as well too. But I've been all over California and Arizona and Vegas. I filmed, so good fun. And Mexico was great fun. So I love to travel to film. Is to answer your question. So
Would you like to tell the viewers the films that you've been in where you've traveled or stayed in the United States?
talking about some of my projects. Okay, so
Yes.
my most recent film is a film called Day Labor, directed by R. Ellis Frazier and directed by Ojan Misagi and David Watts. Great people, awesome people. I was in Mexico for about a month filming. That one that's picture wrap, and we are editing right now and soon to be doing some ADR. I don't know when, but that's coming up soon. So we're still waiting for all that. I mentioned Utah in a question you did. So I was in Utah for a film called Burn Rider. I was there for 3 weeks, and that was great fun filming a bad guy chasing somebody who stole something from us. And the hiking was great. The trails were beautiful. The Utah is just a beautiful state.
Yeah.
I did a romantic comedy
Ooh.
called Switch That Love, which is another great film directed by Jamal McWhorter and directed and produced by Marcus Collins. I'm also a co-producer on that. That was filmed in Atlanta. Atlanta's great. I enjoyed myself really good. I was there for about 2 or 3 weeks filming. Again, these are all films that they're either finished and being edited, or they're out and now we're looking for a home to bring it, whatever platform or whatever movie theater that we play. So let's see, Nobody's Angels.
Oh.
Great fun film. That one is an action thriller filmed in Alabama.
Oh,
That was
how nice.
about 4 weeks filming. Loved it. And that one is fully done, and that one is also trying to find a home. So that's 4 films right there that I've done that we're trying to find a home. And it's, things are working out. Let's see, Sangre Negra. Yeah, so Sangre Negra, aka Black Blood, is my TV show that I'm on, directed by Frank Pinnock and produced by Frank Pinnock and Antonio McKay, Ricardo Herranz, and I play one of the lead actors in this ensemble group. I play a detective, and that right now is playing on Tubi. So if you go to Tubi and type in Sangre Negra, SANGRENEGRA, you'd find our first 4 episodes.
Okay.
And this interview here probably airs, you'll find our entire season 1, which is 8 episodes. Great fun. We filmed that all around LA and in Vegas. So I had the good fortune of working with them for a number of years. Great people. Really a lot of I have a film that I shot years back that finally got released. So
Really?
it's one of those moments where if you have people, filmmakers going, oh, my film's never going to get released, trust me, if you keep at it, they will. So this film was filmed many years ago called Adolescence of Chimera. And we finally found a home. Tubi and Amazon got it. And now you could watch it on there.
Oh, wow.
I filmed that up in San Francisco and in the Oakland area. So I've been up there a few times for some projects. But keep at it. I mean, just don't quit, and you'll see your projects get up there. There's so many people that want to see new talents, fresh talents, and new things that no one has ever seen before. And your stuff can get up there. Just make it.
Well, I'm only 2.5 hours away from San Francisco.
Are you? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I live in
it's
Auburn, which is an hour from Tahoe, an hour and a half from Tahoe, 2.5 from San Fran, 40
I
minutes
think
from Sac.
I think San Francisco is beautiful. I
Yes.
filmed this film up here, The Last Smile,
Yes.
in San Francisco and in the Oakland area. One of my favorite memories filming there. Film was one that film won Best Picture at the Burbank Film Festival. I won
Oh,
Best
wow.
Actor. That was a great experience, The Last Smile. That one you can watch as well on Tubi, Amazon, Apple TV. So I've had the good fortune
Stars.
with my projects now where you can, if you type in my name, you could see the list of all the films that I've done, and they're up there to be seen, which is, I'm very humbled about that. I think it's just really great.
Did you ever take any acting classes when you were in your just coming out of school? Or
Yeah.
what did you do when you first left school?
Well, I think you have to take acting classes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, with that said, I have one particular friend who will remain nameless. He's a great friend of mine who never took acting classes, and this guy just could not stop working. He was always working, 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 working. But
Mm.
he's the rule. Everybody needs to have classes.
Right.
Uh, I thought before I began acting that I thought for some reason, just young and dumb thinking, I thought it was easy to do. And I remember taking, here's a great story. I remember I took a scene study class.
A what?
And scene study class is where the teacher will give you, let's say, 5 to 7 to 10 pages to memorize, and you have to bring this scene up the following week. You have to
Oh.
memorize everything, work with your scene partner, and bring as much truth as you can to whatever the play is or the scene is, whatever it is. Um, and I learned all my lines and everything, but I didn't mentally prepare.
Right.
What, I went out and I set up. Our scene's about to go up in 5 minutes, and I'm setting up the scene, setting up the stage, getting ready to perform. And I was joking around with some friends and talking to the people in the audience or whatever. And the teacher pulled me aside and was like, you know, I'm totally paraphrasing, but he got in my face and was like, "You need to prepare. Like once you set up the stage, get in your head and start thinking about what you're doing, what you're going to say." And I was like, okay, okay, okay. But I didn't really pay it any mind. But when I
Mm-hmm.
did, it was terrible. Like you can tell that I wasn't present, that I wasn't this, that I was
Right.
forcing this, forcing that, thinking that I had to say it this way, as opposed to just being in the moment and being the character and listening. It was a terrible scene. And the
Right.
teacher, rightly so, let me have it. He let me have it because at the end of the scene, he would then critique your scene, critique what you did. And he had pages of just how terrible I did. And it was a very humbling experience. And that's what taught me to take this profession, what we do, seriously. So it's not
But
just about knowing your lines, but it's about once you know before you're both about to go up there, being like being that character, thinking
mm-hmm.
about it, being in that life, being in that moment. Where are you coming from before you say your first word? You know.
Right.
So sometimes you have to get kicked in the butt
Mm-hmm.
before you go. Oh, 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 okay, okay, okay.
Well, if you'd have told you you'd done a good job and you didn't, you wouldn't have learnt nothing.
No, I'm nothing but grateful.
You
I
were,
mean, I
yes.
was embarrassed that day, but I deserved that because I thought I could just go on stage and just do it.
Right.
And that is not the case at all. I mean, some people have that talent, I guess. Maybe Marlon Brando could just do that. But then again, Marlon Brando also, when he first started, was very dedicated. So the later
Right.
Marlon
He's a legend.
I have no question.
Mm-hmm.
But the later years, Marlon Brando, compared to the one who, when he first started, were two different people. He was very dedicated. He was very into studying it.
Mm.
And so it was a good lesson to learn, and I'm glad that it happened. And I've shared this story with other actors and other young filmmakers who I'm like, if you get embarrassed by something that you do, embrace the embarrassment and learn from it. You
Right.
know, lessons are learned from your missteps, from your mistakes. Learn from it. And I learned a lot. I'll never forget that day. And after that, I just took my profession very seriously, down to the writing, down to the directing, down to the producing, down to the acting, filmmaking. I take it very seriously. And yes, you should go to class if you get a chance to. Always go to class, train. Doctors train to how to do surgery. Dentists train to learn how to fix your teeth. If you want to perform in front of the camera, you
Mm-hmm.
want to be as calm and relaxed and in the moment and in that character as possible without making it look like you're even doing anything.
Right. Natural.
As natural. Well, that's the word I was looking for, and I couldn't think about it. As natural as can be.
Sometimes you can tell the difference when you're watching a film where you can't tell they're acting.
Yeah, you're
that's a good. It's like, and I get so emotional, especially if it's a sad movie. I'm like, oh my god, well, how come this happened? But what you said about the critic, just like a normal job, a regular job, if you make mistakes, they tell you. You don't quit your job and never come back. You just carry on and never give up.
Yeah, hopefully learn from it.
Yes, hopefully. Well, you usually do if you get told.
It's hard.
If you're listening,
Usually those lessons aren't learned until way after, once you get over the embarrassment or the feelings that come over you. But when you think back, you go, I learned a lot that day. So sometimes, never give up.
Well, that's right. That's my motto. And when people are younger, they're sensitive too, and invincible. They can be.
Why I think you should be particularly, if you have a critique about somebody younger, a child or even a young teen, find a way to word it properly. And this is what I think. If a teen does a scene, let's say, and it's just not good, you don't come out and say this is terrible. You got to find a way to say it to teach them, yet keep them encouraged. Nothing saying that was terrible. I mean, I just, and I've heard horror stories of teachers who have done that, and they just get in their face, and then that person could. And what a shame that is for that person, a future maybe Marlon Brando, now quit because they heard some words. Now they have these things in their head saying, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I don't want to be embarrassed like that again. And that's terrible.
Yeah.
So
well, there's a way, psychology, there's a way to say things. You can just change a few words around and make it sound completely different to just straight and tactless.
Encourage as you teach.
That's perfect.
My students, that's what I try to do with everybody.
That's probably why you're a very good teacher.
I think my students are great, and a lot of them have been very successful, and a lot of them do very well. And I've seen the growth in a lot of them from when they began to where they're at now. So, so I'm proud of a lot of them, and people who've come over that have helped audition and they've gotten gigs. Proud of them. They deserve it.
So, the industry was in a stalemate in COVID, obviously, and no one was working, and no one was buying new projects, because they said that they're in like a stalemate at the moment. They're waiting to be bought from a network, and everything's shut down. So now things are starting to open up. I think the industry will open up with it, and there'll be a lot more opportunities for short films, for documentaries, for Amazon, Netflix, and all these producers to help finance the finished results of these pilots or films. I think. What's your take on it?
I think with COVID and there was no new during quarantine and during COVID with no new projects being done. A lot of the platforms were desperate for new content and new materials. So I know a few people that shot stuff during COVID, stuff at home, stuff over Zoom. They were being very creative. And a lot of projects that had luckily maybe had been finished prior to quarantine, they were scooped up because people were desperate for content. So there's a time right now where there's just so many great platforms, old and new, that are just looking for people to just show us what you got. So it's a great time right now for filmmakers and people in the industry. Get your stuff out there, because there is a platform out there, if not more than one, that will take your film, your miniseries, your web series, your TV shows, and there it is for everybody to see. So that was maybe a good thing that happened during quarantine, is it allowed people a chance to show their work that maybe you've never seen before.
Maybe I might promote my web series one day.
One day, start some.
Because you're all very interesting people, and who wouldn't want to listen to you? You know.
Why don't you promote it like right now? Not one day. Do it right now.
Okay, sir. I will do that. What's the last three projects you were working on?
The last three projects that I've been busy, to get really specific with, is definitely Day Labor. One, again, they're editing right now. Sangre Negra still, that's very active, and
Okay.
4 more episodes coming out to make it a total of 8 episodes on Tubi, season 1. I was working on a project called Halfway House, the series, produced by Shakola Thompson. And that one we're just filming. I don't know where we're at right now with that one. I'm sure by the time this airs, those episodes will have been edited, and where it's going to be seen, I don't know. But that's currently what I was filming right now. As of right now, I am prepping for a miniseries that I wrote titled Socio. Me and my producing partner, Jacob Satino, something that Jacob initially came up with, told me the concept, and then I ran with it and just wrote it out. So we're planning on filming 6 episodes, and that's that's the next thing that I'm focused on doing right now.
Any cast members for that?
No. We're in the early stage. We're raising money,
Mm-hmm.
money already, which is great. So people are very interested in what we've written, and we just got to raise some more. And once we have the full allotment of money that we need to film,
It's a lot.
the process of casting, we already talked to a few cinematographers. We talked to some people for locations. So we already have an editor. So we're getting all the pieces together, but we got to get money put in. So again, as much as I act all the time, and I just had an audition today that I submitted. So I still submitted my audition. I just am not the type of guy who waits by the phone to hear whether or not I got the gig or not. As I audition, and that's done, and I finish that, then I get back to writing. I get on my computer and I write, or I try to find ways to whatever I've written, have that made. So I'm always trying to find ways to stay busy. And as all the actors out there, don't just act, write, produce, direct.
Right.
Don't just be the person waiting by the phone hoping your agent calls you for a project where 80 other people read for the same exact thing. You know,
it's 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock in case you didn't know. Don't be a wait by the phone person. Be a more proactive person who, as you audition, the days you don't have an audition or you're not on set filming projects, or meet up with some friends and create something that you can film, and you're going to find yourself working more times than not.
That's good. Yeah, be proactive in yourself. Do something. Obviously, you do like to read books because you're a writer and you read. Do you prefer fiction or non-fiction, and what are your favorite books or novels?
I love reading. I'm a big reader. Though lately I've been listening to a lot more audiobooks because I find it so convenient to be jogging and listening to the book, or driving, or if I'm hiking. So, but I love reading. When I first started reading, I remember it was Stephen King books. I was just interested in horror, and that eventually evolved into all types of reading, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. So I really don't have a preference. Because let's say my all-time favorite book happens to be a fiction book called The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley, which is a book about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, but the story is told and seen through the eyes of the women in the court of King Arthur. Arthur, Morgana, and his wife, Guinevere. And it's just a fantastic story. I listened to the audiobook. I read the book twice. It's great. But then I go for something like that, and then I'll read a Dr. Joe Dispenza or Dr. Wayne Dyer or an Abraham Hicks book about energy and creating your future and law of attraction. So my taste really, it depends on my mood. And then I can go from all that and read comic books all day if I wanted to. Just get my pad out, and I have all these comic books, and I'll read Spider-Man, Daredevil, Superman, Batman, and I just enjoy reading. It's really great when you go out after a nice long jog, and then you just kind of lay out in the sun, a little bit of shade there, and you take out the book and you just kind of just sit there with nature and the breeze, and just kind of read. Nice. it's very nice. It's very relaxing. I'm grateful for that, and it's a gift that I can hope others would um, have, where they can lose themselves in a book. Really, really do love it.
Well, it helps. I think I love reading too. If you've got anything else that you'd like to share, would you please share?
Well, I want to say first off, thank you for having me be in your show. Season two, congratulations. A lot of people never get past season one, so congratulations. That's a big deal. A lot of people don't get this far, so keep going. I hope you make it to season 10 with great interviews and people that inspire others, and they keep watching your show. They keep coming back. So I think you're wonderful. Um, you had mentioned before about my social media. I have Instagram. If
Mm-hmm.
anybody follow me, it's I'm sure you're gonna have it written somewhere, like maybe like right here that says what it is, but it's
I
M
will.
R Mr. Danny Arroyo is my Instagram handle. Mr. Danny Arroyo, and
Mm.
Twitter is just at Danny Arroyo.
It is because I follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, we follow each other.
I think I think it was Gary that
Gary,
Gary Carins recommended you. He's a really nice gent. Yeah,
and Corin are amazing
and
people, and
Karin is. Yeah.
pleasure meeting them both when we filmed Day Labor. So they're my Day Label co-stars. Gary, Corin, hey, Roberto, David, everybody, Amy, Louis. They just helped make the experience of being in Mexico for a month amazing. I love those guys. Great people. Really good energy
Yeah.
people.
Thank you very much, Danny, for coming on Chatbox with Sam. It's been an honor and a pleasure to meet you.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me.